Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Well, we fooled you. It's not Steve Arterburn. It's Larry Sonnenburg today sitting in for Steve. And Becky Brown and Dr. Alice Benton are joining me. Thank you guys for being here. It'd be a dull show without you two guys.
Well,
so,
we're happy to be here.
You two ladies, excuse me. We're coming up where churches are starting to plan their fall season. And one of the things that would be easy for a church to do, or somebody within a church to do, is to plan a life recovery group launch. We make it simple for the pastor or church members to launch a group. We have a starter kit. We have a leader's guide. It's real easy to do. Call us at 800-NEW-LIFE, or you can visit liferecoverygroups.com. But Becky, tell us a little bit about that starter kit.
So it's interesting. So many people have heard us say, and you hear other people say, it's really important to be in a group and to do some work on your own. And we believe in the power of recovery on all different levels. Well, but how do you do it? How do you start it? It's a great idea. Well, we've put together a leader's kit that has a guide that literally will walk you through the process of setting up a group, how to reach out to people, what style of group you want to have. And, you know, when we talk about life recovery groups, they cover the gamut. And if you look at our website at liferecoverygroups.com, you'll see all different kinds of groups that meet all across the country. And when you set yours up, we'll post yours there as well. And Terry Ward, who is on staff here at New Life, will help you with any of the process. We will, get you up and going. And it really makes a difference in your church and in your community. It's a great outreach, but most importantly, it helps people find transformation for their life.
I wanted to start a group early in my career, but felt very intimidated and unsure how to do it. And this format made it doable, gave me step-by-step, very practical things to do. And it worked, and I've been running groups ever since.
And aren't they great, Alice? It's just such a great place for people to learn and to grow. It's awesome. Of course, I'm partial.
I want to encourage people that might be a little fearful of the word recovery and life recovery. Some people feel like, I don't want to do this 12-step. I've never been an alcoholic. I'm not addicted. But why would I go if I'm not one of those people that want to get hooked into a 12-step recovery program?
Why would you want to do that? Because so many people, all of us.
I know the answer, but
I was going to say, we all need help somewhere. Everybody who's listening, just think for 1 second about that area of your life that causes you struggle or causes you a challenge. Well, there might be a recovery group in your future. I mean, it literally, the 12 steps give us kind of a structure to move forward in our life. And, our friend Dave Stoop, who's with Jesus now, used to say it's like a sanctification process. And there's always work for us to do. So even if you may not have an addiction to something, but you might be in a struggle and you need to find a way to get out of that struggle or to learn how to do life better. That's what life recovery is all about.
Yeah, you said the word I was looking for. If you're a person that's been around church a long time and you know what sanctification is, that's what the 12 steps accomplishes. So you can grow so much. So just want to encourage folks, encourage churches, encourage church leaders. Give us a call. Ask for Terry Ward at 800-NEW-LIFE, and she can help you towards that. Now, we're going to be here for 2 hours today, and you just call us at 800-229-3000, and you're going to get some wisdom that you aren't going to get anywhere else, because Alice and Becky are full of it, full of wisdom.
I was going to say, whoa.
If we can't have fun while we try to do this, we're going to go home. So stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. The New Life Every Man's Battle online workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
The Every Man's Battle workshop is being held online as a one-day event Saturday, August 7th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEWLIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we are back. Before we take a call, I want to remind you there's a weekly episode of Going Deeper that premieres every Wednesday. Today it's at 5 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel. Every Wednesday we do this. Steve takes you deeper on important topics, A to Z. This week he's discussing an important G topic, and that would be grief. So tune into that. And just remember, we're going to be here 2 hours, 800-229-3000. Love to talk to you. Let's start with talking to Liz in Dallas, Texas. Listens on KWRD. Hello, Liz. How can we help you today?
Hi. Thank you, first of all, for taking my call. You've been a great help to me many times over. My question is, I'll just go dive into it. How do I approach a family member who has a child through, I guess, a fostering program, and the child is being neglected? I don't know that there's any other situation going on with her. There could be, but we definitely know she's being neglected.
How do you know that, Liz?
Several family members have approached me. The child, she's, I think, 10 years old now. She basically stays in the home. The person who has her is my sister. She is never home. Besides work, she also, tell you the truth, I don't know what she does, but she's never home. She doesn't stay there at night. She's paying her rent in her apartment. Several family members, her family members, children, grandkids, well, one grandkid, my brother, all live with her. My brother has been in and out of the hospital lately. He was pretty much responsible for taking care of this little girl, just feeding her, making sure she ate. Everything else she was doing on her own, is doing on her own.
It's so sad.
He has been in and out of the hospital, so it's like, okay, well, now who's feeding her? The other child, who is a teenager, he doesn't do anything but stay in his room on his games.
Is he a foster child too, Liz?
No, that's her son.
Okay.
And she has a daughter who also is in and out of her house who has a child, but she's never, she's in and out. She doesn't take care of her. So who feeds her other than my brother? But he's been having a lot of health problems lately.
And Liz, tell us, when you have addressed this with your sister, how open has she been to talk about the situation?
She tells a lot of lies. Now, I haven't approached her lately. There was a situation about a year or so ago where someone reported her to CPS. The child supposedly had said that she was, some terrible things, sexual things were happening. She was taken away. Well, she was taken to CPS, and they turned her over to a family member, which is my granddaughter, who has no children of her own. She accepted her into her home, and that was temporary while they were investigating. Supposedly it came out that the child had lied, because at the time her actual mother was in her life It was a convenience to my sister to have her in her life, even though she shouldn't have been. But it helped her out a lot. So she supposedly told the child, okay, tell them this is going on so you can come live with me. Well, that backfired on her.
And it's the same child that was returned to the home about whom you're now concerned.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think there are a couple of steps to take here. If the child truly is being neglected, then a social worker probably needs to be alerted about it. But I think there's a prior step to take, which is just to have a conversation with your sister, assuming it won't go well,
Right.
assuming she'll probably lie because she has in the past.
Right.
But to alert her,
Right.
I'm a little worried about this. I wonder who's taking care of her. And maybe your sister has a babysitter. Maybe there is somebody else who comes in and checks on the girl, but it doesn't sound like it. So allow your sister a chance to give you a response. And then let her know if at the end of the conversation you're still concerned for her safety. Let her know, I'm going to have to involve the social worker again because I'm worried. I don't think I'm getting a straight story from you, and I need to look out for this girl. How do you think your sister would respond?
She'll get angry. She'll get very angry. She will probably start calling other family members, which I'm not worried about because most family members know what's going on, and they have approached me. Several have. My other sister, who has the child right now, because she picked her up several days ago and tried to get my sister to come pick her up, and her answer was, well, I can't right now. And she said, just go drop her off at the house. My son is there. My brother's there. Our brother's there.
So I might take a different approach. I agree with you, Alice. However, I think we're past the conversation point. And I think just for protection of this child, because the foster care system is overloaded and there are so many kids that are shuffled around, and it's really sad. There are some great foster parents out there. I know some personally. I see the work that they do and the service that they do for young folks. And what I would say is it would probably be best at this point to call either the social worker that that is associated with that, or the local foster system that that interacts with this family.
Okay, and that's just it. No one does. There are no investigations that we know of that have happened. No one has followed up. She's had her for quite a while.
Then you might have to take it to the next level, which is calling the police, calling local authorities.
Right.
How old is the child?
She's 10.
I missed that. Okay.
Yeah.
I am going to push for a spiritual intervention, which is that we are called to address a person individually first. Now, if you already have done that, maybe you have fulfilled that obligation. But if you haven't done that with your sister, I think there's an obligation there. Although it will cause trouble and she will be upset with you. Mm-hmm. You can also always call the authorities anonymously and not tell your sister about it. But I think God calls us to take a direct approach.
Okay.
How do you feel about that, Liz?
I don't mind doing it. I want to do it. My biggest concern was, where will the child go?
Right.
I have my own grandkids. I don't have a room for her.
Right.
She deserves more than that. Yeah. But I have my granddaughter who has taken her before. Even though she's pregnant now, and she is very willing to take her, so I really feel like they have a place for her.
Well, and maybe that's one of those conversations. I think the hard part is, I had a client years ago who, before he was 18, was in 17 different foster homes. And he experienced all kinds of neglect and just victimization. I mean, it just was endless. And it was just horrific to hear that his life was just disposable. And we know that that's not true. And so we've got to do what we can to let the officials know. But like you said, Alice, these conversations have to be had in the family. And, isn't that the challenge of every family, even if it doesn't include like a foster child? It's how do we have those difficult conversations knowing that they may not want to hear what we have to say, but if we go in love and go with the best intentions, there can be a good outcome that comes. And most importantly, safety and for the welfare of this child.
What book would you suggest we might send?
Do we still have How to Have That Difficult
you.
Conversation?
We will
Yeah,
look and
thank you so
see.
much.
Yeah,
You're welcome, Liz. We'll be
we'll
praying
send
for
that
you.
to you. Thank you. It's really
Thank you
hard.
very, very much, and God bless you.
God bless you too, Liz.
You know, it's just hard to know what to do sometimes when people are so helpless, and you wonder why she has a foster child. You wonder if there's a father involved, and what there's a young boy at the home. There's all kinds of things you wonder, but all we can do is all we can do.
It feels so disloyal to go to the authorities about a family member. It feels like we're betraying the family member, and they certainly take it that way a great deal of the time. And yet we are called to be courageous and to call out sin as we see it and to protect the innocents who cannot protect themselves. So Liz is a hero for this family.
You know, there's so many folks that struggle with victimization within their family systems, and it's very difficult for them to make that call. And I know, Alice, in your practice as well as mine, you know, there are situations that come to our awareness that we are required to let the officials know. We don't have control about how that is all going to turn out, but if you are in a situation right now where something bad is happening to you or in your home, take that bold step and call an official. It could be the local sheriff's office. It could be, any kind of help center. You could be 1-800-NEW LIFE just to get that started, that conversation started. There is help out there. And I know that so many people suffer in silence. And in this situation, it's a child. So the adults around her have to be the ones to take care of her, but it doesn't always happen.
It's like so much else in life. You feel such a burden relieved when you share something with somebody. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a beginning point. So it's really good counsel. Well, I just want to say, talk about giving to New Life. I'm holding up, for those of you on YouTube, 100 Days to Freedom from Fear and Anxiety. And this is written by, it says Steve Arterburn, but I think if I scratch and look, it says Becky Brown there too. So thank you, Becky, for what you did to help put that together.
Well, when we were working on that project too, it was, we were winding down from the last year in 2020. And so many people were struggling with fear and anxiety. There's a lot of people that struggle with fear and anxiety
Still
anyway. Right. We still are. And so I hope that it encourages anyone who reads it. And what a deal for the gift of any amount. You're going to help New Life and you're going to get a book. So buy some for Christmas.
I want to appeal to those of you who have never given to a ministry or never given to New Life. It's we have talked to people who have listened to this program for years, 10, 15 years. And one day they decided it was worth giving to. And it's hard to know what put them over the edge, what puts you over the edge. But I can just assure you that the money that's sent here, the reason it's sent here is we want to help people. We want people to experience that Holy Spirit nudge, that Holy Spirit entering into their mind and your hearts that says, I can look at life a little differently. My best thinking got me in the mess I'm in or the struggle I'm in. And now I need to find some help. I need to find somebody else that might do that might help me figure out the way through it and out of it. And that's all that we're looking for. We're just looking for people to want to give. We give things back. I'm glad we give things back, but I wish and I pray for the people who would give whether or not we're offering this book or not. So thank you for giving. And while I'm talking about giving, Club New Life. Club New Life is our monthly giving program, $30 or more a month. And if you can give $30 or more a month, we have a welcome gift. And I should have had that right out in front of me. But the welcome gift is books. It's a tote bag. There are things in there that will keep you tuned into God, and it's aimed for you to better get closer to God, get closer to life, and experience that.
I have the list, Larry, if
Thank
you want me to
you.
share it.
Read it
I have
out.
the list is 100 Days of Peace devotional, a New Life journal, a Restoration Bible, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, and a New Life grocery tote to store them in. What a deal. And it's a life-changing deal.
And part of the Club New Life advantage is a Club New Life video series. And Alice has recently done a video on there, and it's Calm Your Fear and Anxiety with Exercise and H2O. That'll be coming out in the next week or so. And I just want Alice, what would you say about that video in 20 seconds?
I don't think we realize how many tools we have to address anxiety, because we can attack it from a spiritual, emotional, and also a physical angle. And when we combine all of those approaches, we can take authority over our anxiety and we can access the peace that God has for us.
Okay. Well, that's what we hope for you, and that's one of the benefits of joining Club New Life. There are hundreds of videos on hundreds of topics, and there's something in there for you. So if you're curious, call us 800-NEW-LIFE and ask about joining Club New Life. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop. A lot of people are you could literally say, in bondage from past trauma that has created an emotional web that they don't understand, and it prevents them from being free. A person that loses their temper regularly is not emotionally free. Someone who has anxiety just to get in the car and leave the house is not emotionally free. And walking around with the shame from a childhood or even a bad relationship as an adult, that is not emotional freedom, and we can help you get there.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Online Workshop is Saturday, August 14th. Steve Arterburn and Chris Williams will present information on the power of our emotions, procrastination, guilt and shame, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or register online at newlife.com.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the New Life member thank you gift of the New Life Journal, 100 Days of Peace, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, a Restoration Bible, and a New Life grocery tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits, like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we are back. Becky Brown, Alice Benton, and Larry Sonnenburg here. And I wanted to, we were plugging this book, 100 Days of Freedom from Fear and Anxiety, and we were talking about our caller. And Becky, you said something at the break about hidden anxiety.
Yeah, so, there's so many people that are dealing or not dealing with their fear and anxiety. They don't recognize it. And I know in my own life, just a few years ago, I didn't realize how my own unrecognized anxiety was driving the behaviors in my life. And thanks to Milan Yurkovich and How We Love, going through that process of understanding where those behaviors start. And, just like our previous caller, when Liz called, she's fearful of what's going to happen to this child, fearful about what's going on in the family dynamics, but also anxious. Anxiety is literally a fortune teller kind of thing, mindset. You're worried about things that you can't control. You're worried or thinking about things in the future or even in the past. Things are not happening right now. And it can serve a purpose. It's not, we don't want to live in a numbed out state. And unfortunately, so many people who have fear and anxiety look to things to numb them out so that they don't feel those things, rather than do a little inspection, figure out what is driving that anxiety. In the book, we talk, it's a devotional style. We open with scripture. There's a little short, reading that we cover everything from what happens in the brain when you're feeling anxious to where some of those spin cycles start in anxiety. And if you are listening and you've been in that experience before where you start to get anxious and anxiety just grows upon itself, it gains its own momentum, it can really get you shut down. And I've heard Steve say so many times with people who are dealing with something like agoraphobia, it's like all the way at the end of it, but it started somewhere with, I cannot do this because of that. And the shutdown, and you become powerless. And so if you are dealing with anxiety or even fear, we can help you. This book can be a good starting place, but also, New Life has so many resources to help you kind of unpack what are those things that are driving those behaviors that you're experiencing.
I wanted to ask Alice a question because at the break she said, well, fear and anxiety, that's one of my favorite subjects.
Yeah.
That surprised me.
And it is because it's been one of my biggest emotional struggles in my own life. And I, like Becky, I didn't realize I had it until I started to notice the tension in my chest and around my lungs. I couldn't take a full breath because I was so tense, but didn't realize it. And what I like about your book, Becky, is how much it refers to Scripture. Now, Scripture is a part of the answer, but it's a powerful, supernatural part of the answer. So I just want to share. This is from day 73 of Becky and Steve's book, John 16:33. I've told you all this so that you may have peace in me. Here on earth, you'll have many trials and sorrows, but take heart because I've overcome the world. That's what this show and New Life is all about. We face the trials and the struggles. We do it with the help of community and belief in God's faithfulness. And that helps us through the anxiety.
Great. Well, let's get back to the phone calls. Kelly in Modesto is calling, and let's go talk to her. Hello, Kelly. How can we help you?
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. Can you hear me pretty well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great, because I'm driving. Listen, the reason for my phone call is I have a real struggle about approaching my sister-in-law who's experiencing a lot of depression right now due to the loss of her son who passed away recently, to the point where she wants to divorce my brother. And she's raising the son that belonged to the son that passed away. And he's giving them a lot of trouble right now in the home and telling them it's their fault that the son, his father died, which it's not true. That wasn't the case. But anyways, both of them have had attention deficit disorder, so they struggle from that. And the mother is deeply depressed and hurting, and she's just isolated herself. So I'm like, I feel like I want to talk with her and maybe advise her to call New Life or something, but I'm not sure if I should do that or not. So what would be your suggestion in my
Kelly, I want to ask, what's your relationship like with your brother?
A very good relationship. Yeah, he's one of the best guys ever.
And is he turning to you at all in the struggle his family's going through?
No, he's turning to my husband and mentioning little things here and there, and he comes home and shares it with me.
That's great.
My husband does.
That's great. I'm so sorry for your loss, too, Kelly. Sometimes when we have difficult conversations, it's good to lead with what you just described. I really want to talk to you, but I don't know if I'm going to say the wrong thing, and I know this is a really difficult time. And just kind of be vulnerable with your intention. You've got great intention to offer support and help, but it also gives the person that you're speaking with, in this case the sister-in-law, an opportunity to know that you're not trying to fix her, that you just are trying to get the conversation started.
Right, and here's the deal. I just wanted to say very quickly that her daughter is a psychologist, and she's been coming back and forth to the home to try to comfort her mother and be there for her. But this other son, I feel, the grandson, that he's going to hurt the mother by the things that he's saying. And I don't think she should be taking care of him and going through that with him because, she's not emotionally stable enough.
Hold that thought, and we'll come back right after the break and continue with this.
of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again.
You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today, living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back. And remember, we're going to be here another hour after this. Call us at 800-229-3000. We're talking with Kelly, and she wants to help her sister-in-law, and Becky and Alice have some good thoughts for her.
Kelly, fill in just a couple more details for us. How young is the boy, the grandson?
He just graduated from high school.
And is his mother not actively in his life?
No, the father passed away, and the mother, unfortunately, was into drugs. So she cannot take care of him.
And how is the high school graduate grandson? Like, I know you described him as having ADD, but did he successfully graduate? Was it just by the skin of his teeth? You know, those kind of things are always curious, because when you say that you're worried about his actions towards her, you know, he's almost a man. Like, you know, we got to look at that from a safety standpoint. Mm-hmm. That's why we were asking those kind of questions.
That's right. The parents are asking him to get a job, and he keeps telling them that he's applied, but no one's called.
And has he ever been physically aggressive in the past?
Just as verbally with them, telling them that they're not good parents and that kind of thing.
And is anyone receiving structured help, therapy?
The daughter is a psychologist, and she comes back and forth and stays with her mother quite a bit. And then she leaves because she has to work. She lives in another city. So she's been trying to help her out, as far as I know.
There's no professional help coming from outside the family, although the sister is supportive. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
My hope would be that because your husband has the ear of your brother, who is open to him, goes to him for support, I think one of the best shots would be if your brother would be willing to pursue therapy for the sake of the whole family. Everybody needs it. They've been through a horrific loss, let alone all the trauma that went along with the drug behavior that's gone on in the family. And if the father of the family would model by his example it may just soften some hearts and equip him to handle the situation better and differently. But I would want the suggestion and perhaps the offer of coming alongside of him, helping him connect with New Life, connect with a therapist, would come from your husband. Do you think he'd be willing to do that?
I think he would. I will suggest that to him.
I also think that there are some recovery principles that probably need to be introduced. When you have a family that there has been addiction, both, this is what happened to your nephew and then his wife or the mother of your grandson, we know that it impacts the whole family. It isn't like, this was just happening to them. This is what everybody was dealing with or wasn't dealing with. And so I would encourage, we've talked about life recovery groups and just that process. We have a life recovery workbook on grief, which could be very helpful for the whole family. I love your idea, Alice, about, that family intervention. I think even going one step further and having a family session, including the psychologist's sister, because as with professionals, we don't work with our families because we don't have really good objectivity. But it would be a great healing process to launch this young man into a better life. And he could be suffering with grief and think about it. His family is it's just really sad. But I agree with what you're saying, Alice. We need to get some outside help.
Kelly, do you already have a Life Recovery Bible?
I do, yes.
Okay, let us send you that workbook on grief.
And can we send the high school graduate Every Man's Bible?
Absolutely.
Good idea, Becky.
Yep.
When a child has been traumatized, it's so hard for parents to know how much to balance giving comfort, safety, and protection while also challenging the child to continue in the maturation process. And a good group leader, a good therapist can help strategize that.
And it's even harder for grandparents who are mourning the loss of their child, and also the layers of loss that come with a life of addiction in a child. So we'll be praying for this family.
Yeah, Kelly, thank you for your call. Let's go on and talk to Cindy. Cindy's in Pittsburgh, PA, listens on her app. Hello, Cindy. How can we help you?
Hi. Yeah, I have a question concerning EMDR. It was recommended to me to do the EMDR, and I've had probably about 8 sessions with this therapist. And my question is, how do you know it's working? Like, how do you know it's effective?
In order to answer
I know
that question well, can you tell us why you went in for therapy and what you're hoping will change because you're receiving EMDR?
Okay, so my husband died probably about 11 years ago, very quickly. He was diagnosed on a Wednesday and died Friday of that same week.
Oh, no.
So, and I had 3 little kids to raise myself, my youngest being 5. So that's kind of where I've been stuck. And another therapist had suggested to find somebody that does the EMDR. And that's what we've kind of been working on. But I don't know. Maybe I don't have the right fit for this therapist. I don't know if this is working or I don't know, because I've never done EMDR. And so that's kind of why I sought her out.
And you had done therapy before this therapist. How much therapy have you received in your life?
Oh, gosh. Much.
Good for you, Cindy. Good for you, Cindy. Good for you.
Probably the 4th therapist I've been through. Yeah.
That's okay. It's a struggle. It's a struggle to find a good fit. You're asking a really good question. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, which is what EMDR stands for, is a process. I'm just saying this for the listeners that, where you are working with a therapist who's specially trained in this, helping the emotions and the memories kind of go together and get relief. Because a lot of times what happens is things get stuck in our brain, our literal brain, and then our mind and our emotions cannot process them. It's a very effective treatment. However, I'm not saying that, Cindy, it works with everybody, because there are people that it's not suited for. My question, kind of going back to what you said, Alice, I want to know, how would you know it was helping, Cindy? What are you feeling that you don't feel like EMDR is working? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so I took the stance of, okay, I've probably had about 8 sessions with it. And I just figured, well, we just have to keep going on. And when I was there yesterday, she just kind of stopped full speed and said that, I don't know if this is really what you need. I don't really know if this is what you need. And I said, well, what do I need then? Tell me. You're the therapist. You tell me.
That's a great therapist to say that, though. That's good for her to say that. But that's why I'm asking, what do you need? How would you know something would be helpful?
I guess from what it was explained to me before I found this therapist, is that when I think about the events that happened, instead of it coming up through my stomach and like my response is, oh, here we go again. Oh, this dread. Oh, here we go again. These feelings wouldn't be so intense. Of course, they will always still be there, but they won't be as intense, and I'll be able to live a joyful life without always having to go back to that event.
Okay, so you've got some trauma, which makes sense. That's what you're talking about. Alice, what were you going to say?
Cindy, how long ago did your husband pass away?
13 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And just briefly, how are your children doing now after this many years of the loss of their father?
My kids, knock on wood, my kids are all grown. My kids all went to college. My youngest will be a senior in college. They all have jobs. Nobody has had, any drug problems or anything like that.
So they're good doing kids. Relatively well, considering what you all have been through. Yes. So I'm going to give you some suggestions, because there's not a definitive way to know, is it working, is it not working? But you and your therapist are having very good open conversations about it. And there are adjustments that EMDR therapists can make to the style and the way that we're providing the therapy. And you might ask, what can we do? What can we do differently? How long do you think we should keep trying this? I find that therapy always takes longer than I want it to when I receive it personally, and then I want it to when I provide therapy to my clients. It always takes longer, and you know that with all the time you've been in it. So I would like you to take a couple sessions with your therapist to brainstorm, ask her what can be flexed about the style of EMDR. Give it a couple of more shots before you make a choice to stay or to try another therapist or another modality with her.
Well, and I have one other thought. Okay. I know we got just a couple seconds, so I don't know if you want to come back.
Right after the break, yeah.
We'll come back, and we'll talk about it again, Cindy.
And remember, we're going to be here another hour. 800-229-3000. Share a struggle. We can help. We look forward to talking to you. We'll be back right after this.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. The New Life Every Man's Battle online workshop can help.
After 7 years, just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
The Every Man's Battle workshop is being held online as a one-day event Saturday, August 7th. Don't wait for him to call. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the New Life member thank you gift of the New Life Journal, 100 Days of Peace, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, a Restoration Bible, and a New Life grocery tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back. We've got a couple more thoughts for Cindy, and before we go there, 800-229-3000. We'd love to have you call for the program next hour. Okay.
All right, Cindy, what I'm thinking, when you said, I want to get to a place where I have joy and I don't go all the way back to that event. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Because 13 years of carrying that just speaks volumes of the trauma that experience was like. And all of us, we can't imagine. I mean, even, Alice, when you were audibly responding to that news, it's amazing that you have pursued help this whole time. And the reason why I say that is because so many people will get stuck and just say nothing will work, and so I just won't do anything, and this is just my lot in life. But that's not your attitude, Cindy, and that's wonderful. But I also think it's great what Alice is saying about go back to the therapist and just inquire about it. But my question is, how much grief work did you do? And grief work's a little bit different than trauma work. It can be similar, but where you feel like you were able to share the story to a place where you can tell it now and it doesn't take you all the way back.
I feel like I could run a grief group myself.
Good for you.
I've been to so many.
Okay.
I've been to so many grief groups over, shortly after it happened, and then maybe a year later.
Okay. All right.
So I've been to, yeah.
Well, so then my other question is, have you ever been assessed for depression, not related to the grief, but as a result of the trauma and as a result of this experience, and been, whether it's been medicated or supported with medication at all?
Yes, to both of those.
Okay.
I have been diagnosed with depression shortly after he died and was on medication, and then went off the medication, and now am back on the medication again.
Okay. And
through a psychiatrist is actually
okay.
giving me the medication.
The reason why I ask all of these questions is because if we go seeking one thing and we're not getting that thing, we can get real focused on that thing and not cover this other stuff. But you have done your homework, Cindy. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're like star patient clinician of the day. I mean, it's amazing. But I understand the frustration that you have that you're not feeling better. I wonder, are your kids all out of the house now? Like they're all graduated from school and stuff?
My youngest will be a senior in college. The other two are gone, and the youngest, once school starts again in the fall, he'll go back.
Okay. And
there are.
Did you remarry, Cindy?
Yes, I did remarry. Probably 4 years ago.
Okay, and how's that going?
And not great.
Okay,
not
all
great.
Right. Okay, so see, that's why I'm asking those questions, because that could be where the work has to be. We're real big about healing occurring in relationships, and I don't know how your husband relates to what you've been through or how you guys talk about that stuff. But our spouses can be a really great resource when we're struggling with things. But that can also be a challenge. Alice?
I want to add to that. When we're trying to do historical healing, but there is a lot of current conflict, sometimes the present situation has to be dealt with to a certain extent before the history can be treated. And they can often coincide also. But if the struggle with your husband is not being addressed enough right now, you may need to have that be also one of the primary focuses of the current therapy, so that then the EMDR can also work on the history.
What does that sound like, Cindy?
Well, we're in marriage therapy as we speak, so we've been in it probably over a good year now.
Okay.
So we do that weekly.
Have you ever? Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, have you ever heard of our intimacy and marriage workshop?
Yes, I wanted to go, and we just didn't have the means to get there. And he even said to me, "I just do not want to do another marriage retreat," because we've never done yours, but we've done other ones, for a weekend wherever, and we've been through several therapists.
There's nothing like ours.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing you say, Cindy, that there's some fatigue in the process.
Yeah.
And that you guys need a place where you can connect that is not problem-centered. And I'm sure that this isn't the only thing that you guys are challenged with. And of course, just like Larry just said, there's nothing like ours, and we're all biased. But we just came from one this past weekend and saw dramatic changes. So maybe in October you can join us in Dallas. But it could be. I mean, there's so many factors that play into the bigger story. And sometimes, I don't know, Alice, if you agree with this, but sometimes we have to take a break and kind of assess. And you could assess with the counselor that you're working with right now with the EMDR, but even with the couples counselor, just say, should we take a break and come back? What can we be doing on our own? There's just so many layers.
What book could we send, Cindy?
Well, if she didn't have How We Love, I would send that.
Okay, we'll send How We Love. Before we go, I want to share testimony from our Every Man's Battle workshop, because we're doing another one coming up a week from Saturday. And then after that, we're doing Finding Freedom the following Saturday. But here's
Emotional Freedom.
Emotional Freedom, thank you. Every Man's Battle testimony. This one was a little bit unique to me, I thought. This weekend has allowed me to experience the deepest and most significant connection with other men than I've ever experienced. I knew that it has always been a need in my life, but didn't realize how much it was needed and how significant it would be. The freedom that comes with the intimacy truly is an antidote to shame. I'm committed to staying in touch with these men and to finding other men to be in my life to help me make up for the maturity and growth as a man that I desperately need. We desperately need men to be the men that God designed us to be. This is just the first step in my journey to be that man. Thank you to our leader, Jim, and each one of my brothers. I love you guys. There's something about getting together with guys. When guys try to isolate, it falls apart. They think they can do it. They think they can be Rambo. But I love that this one was so focused on the men and the connection and not on all the stuff they learned in the workshop from the speakers and from their counselors. Those are all good things, and they're all necessary parts of that workshop. But I'm telling you, the connection with other guys is what makes the difference.
Yes, that's so true.
It's connection with other people in the Emotional Freedom Workshop that makes the difference. So that connection, you just can't say enough.
And one of the things about connection, Larry, is that you are seen and you can see that other people are carrying the same stuff that you are. And that's the power of that connection.
And you don't realize that you're speaking to somebody else. You think you're going to get all this stuff from other guys, but when you speak, you're helping other guys.
Right.
I just want to remind folks we're going to be here another hour, and we'd love to hear from you. 800-229-3000. Give us a call, and if you don't have a problem, tell us how much you love New Life. We'd love to hear that too.
Or tell us about the problem that your husband or your wife or your children have.
But don't tell us about the problem you have with us.
Exactly.
Okay?
Well, we can handle it.
Yeah, we can. And a reminder, we need your support. A gift of any amount, we will give you the 100 days of freedom from fear and anxiety. So thanks for being on today. Thanks for listening in. We will be back tomorrow. And we'll be back another hour. Give us a call, 800-229-3000. God bless you and make it a good day. And thanks, Becky, and thanks, Alice, for being here.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you. but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.